Welcome to Nonprofit Profiles. I'm Genevieve Riatort. I'm really excited about today's show because we're going to be featuring an agency that is particularly close to my heart. In addition to being the host here at Nonprofit Profiles, I'm also the development director at the Westside Food Bank. We're going to start by showing a video about how one of our agencies uses the food that Westside Food Bank provides.
My name is Marcy Venegas, and I'm the service coordinator for Daniel's Place. And Daniel's Place is a satellite office, I guess, from Step Up on Second. And so what we do, we're a mental health agency that provides mental health services to transitional age youth 18 to 28. The way we sort of became linked to the Westside Food Bank was they currently already serve Step Up on Second. So they provide the majority of the food that gets cooked over at Step Up on Second. And because we are a satellite office and we are kind of sort of, separated from the bigger place, we realized that we needed snacks, we needed food, because we're not allowed to cook at the facility, or the youth are not allowed to cook there. We needed to kind of sort of draw people in, and we realized that we had to have easy meals or something quick, a snack or something. And so I was able to come into the Westside Food Bank to be able to pick up stuff on a weekly basis. And then so it's become, actually recently, since we started coming here on a weekly basis, we've gotten more people to come into the center. So food is definitely a big part of the service that we give now, and it helps draw in people.
I'd like to introduce our first guest, Jacob Ramsey. Jacob is also serving double duty today. He is on Westside Food Bank's board, but he's also a former client, and he now works at Step Up on Second. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, representing not only the Westside Food Bank, which is very close to my heart, also representing Step Up on Second, Daniel's Place, Step Up on Fifth, Step Up in Vine. I had the opportunity to be on the board of directors at Step Up on Second for approximately 10 years, and I've been with the Westside Food Bank now for 2 years. And
we're very glad to have you.
I'm glad to be part of it. I want to say something about the Westside Food Bank first. There's over 105,000 people on the West Side that get food from us. And the agencies that get the food from us, I think that is one of the main things that helped change my life. As you said, I'm wearing 3 hats in this interview. I've been on every side. I had the privilege of being a client or member of some of these agencies, and then now I'm on the side where we make strategy and think about the needs and how to meet the needs.
Well, I'm really grateful for you for appearing on the show, and I'm especially glad that you're willing to share a little bit about your personal journey. Can you tell us about how you began and how you accessed services?
Yeah, I basically came to California seeking employment I'm an ordained Baptist minister, as a youth minister in Compton, California. And I didn't get the job, and at that time I had so much pride that I didn't want to go back and say I didn't get that job in California. So I stayed here, and I ended up homeless, helpless, hopeless. And the people here in Santa Monica, they helped me. Genevieve, I shared this with you before, but there's been times when I had a slice of bread that tasted like angel food cake to me. I know what it means to be hungry. Mm-hmm. And I've also, during that episode of being homeless and hopeless, I had to stay in transitional shelter. So OPCC, the Turning Point, and those people, I know about them too. And these are some of the agencies at the Westside Food Bank. Mm-hmm. They help now. So I'm here just to say the people that help us at Westside Food Bank, mm-hmm. they help someone like me who now for the last 15 years has given back and all the skill sets that I had before I came here and ended up homeless, hopeless, and helpless. Uh, I give back to the community, and my main hat that I'm wearing now is for the Westside Food Bank. So I'm just here to say I have done lapse disease. My stomach done lapped over my belt because of the good food that I've eaten from the West Side.
So while you were on your journey and getting services from different agencies, all along the way you were eating food that those agencies received from Westside Food Bank.
Yes, most of the agencies, 50% of the food that Westside Food Bank gives to the agencies, we purchase from the contributions that people give to us. And so the agencies gets that food and a lot of other food, and that was the food that was helping agencies be able to afford to, as you know, in Los Angeles, there's over 40,000 homeless people every night. So the way they're fed is by agencies like Westside Food Bank.
That's right. And in fact, we do charge a small fee from our agencies, but for the most part, the Westside Food Bank really tries to subsidize some of that cost so that they pay us very little for the food. And of course, the clients, the people who receive the food, never have to pay anything at all.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's really our mission at the Westside Food Bank. So it's such an honor to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've been able to give back and some of the people that you've worked with at Step Up, just very briefly?
Yeah,
Maybe just one quick story.
I facilitate 6 groups a week at Step Up, and basically today the group I facilitated was How to Tell Your Story, which is basically what I'm doing today. So the group was 12 to 15 members, and they were all excited about me sharing how to tell my story because they knew I was going to get this opportunity to tell the story to the Santa Monica community and wherever this reaches tonight.
Well, Jacob, you're walking the walk and you're talking the talk.
Thank you.
I am so pleased and honored to have you on the show. Thank you, really, for sharing your story and your journey. I really appreciate it, and it's just such a pleasure to talk to you and learn about your journey, and I'm just really glad to have you on the show.
And thank you for this opportunity to be of service and to just to say that Westside Food Bank, they're doing an excellent job.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us on Nonprofit Profiles. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back. I now have the pleasure of introducing one of Westside Food Bank's board members, Jocelyn Cortese, and her son, Jack Cortese, who's been a volunteer with us for many years. Welcome, Jocelyn and Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Jack, let's start with you. Can you tell us about your experiences volunteering with Westside Food Bank?
At the Westside Food Bank, I have been a part of the Hunger Walk for many years, and at St. Matthew's Parish School, the school I go to, our school is a large part of the Westside Food Bank. They do food drives every year, and they are a huge part of the Hunger Walk, and so that's basically how I heard about it also.
So about how old were you when you first heard about the Westside Food Bank?
I first heard about it in, I have to say, like first grade, because the older kids would always talk about it, and they'd have announcements for it in our assembly, and probably the first time I heard about the Westside Food Bank.
And have you been to the Westside Food Bank warehouse?
Absolutely, yes. I've been there with my mom, and in 7th grade we go there to sort food.
So what's that like?
It's a lot of food. It surprised me how large the warehouse was, and it was a really good experience to go there and to see where it all really takes place, where all the food is distributed, and it's a very interesting experience.
So not only did you donate your own kind of cans and box food, but you got to see where that food goes and actually help to pack it up.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a full experience. And what does it mean to you to be part of helping to feed other kids and other families?
To me, I don't have to worry about where my food comes from, and to think about that other people, other kids my age don't know where their next meal is going to come from or are at school hungry. I wouldn't know that feeling, and I know that it's probably a horrible feeling, and I wanted to help that.
Well, we really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Jocelyn, you must be a very proud mom.
I definitely am.
I know that Jack is not the only one of your children that has been supportive of Westside Food Bank. Can you tell us about your other kids?
Jack's older brother, Sam, both of them are Boy Scouts, but for Sam's Eagle Scout project, he came to the food bank and built a second floor landing so there could be more food barrels, and he brought a bunch of kids with him. And he was able to really talk to them about what the food bank does, which was great. But our family has been, the whole family has been involved with the food bank for a long time.
And tell us how you got involved.
When we were members of St. Matthew's Church in Los Angeles and St. Matthew's Schools, where the kids all go to school. And they do a lot of work. The church and the school, it's sort of the cornerstone of their program. Although we work with OPCC and St. Joseph's Center and Common Ground and a lot of the agencies that the Westside Food Bank serve, so I'm associated with them also. But really, the Westside Food Bank is the cornerstone of all that work that we do at the school and the church. So once we heard about it and sort of understood that there are a lot of hungry people in our midst, it was a great way for me as a parent to talk to the kids about being of service and what it means to be hungry. And so it's been a big part of our life for a long time.
Well, I know as a mom, whenever I talk to kids that come to the Westside Food Bank, I always say, what happens when you come home from school? The first thing you want is a snack. You don't want to do chores or homework. You want to eat that snack. And what would it be like if there was no snack? And what would it be like if there was no dinner? If the only meal you got was the breakfast and lunch that you get at school? And, I can also speak to it because I've been in a situation where I've needed food assistance as a mom when I was going through a transition and a divorce. And I know that there's no more terrifying feeling than not knowing how you're going to feed your kids. And it's so meaningful for me to be able to work in this field, and it's so wonderful to work with people like you and your family who want to give back.
Well, I appreciated when you came to our school and shared that with the kids, the students. It had a huge impact on them because you don't often know who it is in your midst that is reaching out for food assistance. It's a huge crisis, and it's not always obvious.
So why do you serve? You're on our board, you volunteer, you're so active with us. What does it mean to you?
It means a lot to me to be able to, it's such a powerful organization, and it's so, Westside Food Bank, now that I'm on the board, I can also see the incredible integrity, every decision that you make, and the way that you strive to provide nutritious food. Also, I volunteer on Thursdays at Bread and Roses Cafe, and they have fruit to give to the homeless clients. The only reason they have the fruit is because of the Westside Food Bank, and the clients love it. And Jack has been there too. The kids all work there too.
Bread and Roses is the restaurant that is for homeless people where they can get a free meal.
Right, and it's incredible. And they really appreciate the food bank support, and OPCC, where we make sack lunches sometimes. Also, the fruit in the sack lunch comes from the food bank. So for me, it's a pretty simple concept that people are hungry in this world, and I'm only one person, and my kids are young, but we can all make a difference and support the food bank's great work. It means a lot to us.
I think a lot of people are surprised to find out that there are hungry people right here in our community, right here in Western LA County.
Right, and people that are working 2 jobs and really trying to make ends meet but cannot buy groceries that 4th week of the month. It must be terrifying.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Right.
Well, I really appreciate you both coming on the show. It's been so wonderful to be able to speak with you about your experiences, and I've seen firsthand what a difference kids can make, not only with collecting food and getting sponsors at our Hunger Walk, but coming in and volunteering in our warehouse. It's really amazing and wonderful, and it really is true everyone can make a difference. And thank you both so much for being a shining example.
Thank you, Genevieve.
And thank you for being with us. We'll be back in just a minute. After hearing so much about Westside Food Bank's work, we're going to hear directly from another one of Westside Food Bank's agency in this short video.
My name is Rachel. I'm the Pantry Services Coordinator at St. Joseph Center. We've been working with the Westside Food Bank for about 30 years now. We pick up food twice a week. Our pantry serves 1,000 families, and the Westside Food Bank's food gives us about 80% of the food we give out, so they really are touching a huge amount of people. And the pantry is only one of 2 programs that the Westside Food Bank gives food to at St. Joseph Center. We also have the Bread and Roses Cafe, which is a restaurant for the homeless. So they obviously give food to them as well, and that touches the homeless community, and then the pantry serves to touch the housed clients. If the food bank was not available, I'm pretty sure we would not be able to exist. At this point, our budget is pretty minimal for what we can spend on food, so we are very dependent on the food bank to give us the low prices that they do. Our bags would be cut like 3/4 at least if the food bank was not available, so we wouldn't exist without it for sure.
Now we get to hear from the head honcho at the Westside Food Bank, Executive Director Bruce Rankin. Bruce, thanks for being on the show.
It's great to be here.
So you've been at the Westside Food Bank for quite some time. Can you tell us about your own history with the organization?
Well, I came to the food bank back in the late 80s, and I had worked for a city before that, and wanted to get into nonprofit social service and picked a wonderful spot.
Well, I'm really glad to have you at the food bank and to have you as my boss. And it's really great to have you on the show. Since you've been at the food bank for so long, I know you know a lot about its history and the mission of the Westside Food Bank. Can you tell our audience about that?
Sure. The food bank started in 1981 at a time when the need was growing in the community, and it was realized that it would be great to bring the economy of scale into getting food to social service agencies. So the agencies on the West Side, as individual agencies, maybe could buy food at Costco or something like that, could participate in a small food drive, but what was needed was something to knit all those agencies together where truckloads of food could be bought at one time, and big food drives like the letter carriers food drive, bringing in over 100,000 pounds of food in one afternoon. So those things could be used to extend the dollar a lot farther and get better prices on food and take advantage of huge opportunities.
And that's really why the food bank exists.
And that's what a food bank is all about. A food bank is a warehouse operation. I like to make a distinction between a food bank and a food pantry. Food pantry is where a family that needs a supplementary grocery bag can come for that. Whereas the food bank is the supplier to agencies, and most of the food goes to food pantry programs. But we're sort of like the wholesaler, and they're sort of like the retailer.
So how many agencies is Westside Food Bank serving?
We serve about 70 agencies. More than half of them come on a weekly basis for an allotment of food from our warehouse in Santa Monica. And it's a service area that goes as far east as La Brea, as far south as the airport, as far north as the Santa Monica Mountains. And I think a lot of people don't realize that the need within our area is quite high, owing partly to the fact that the cost of living is so high here. There was a survey done not long ago that showed that 1 out of 6 people in the United States in general is in danger of food insufficiency. And that survey found that the same figure holds for the West Side. People may have a little bit more money, but everything costs more as well.
I think people would be surprised to know that our area actually matches the national average in terms of hunger and food insecurity.
It's true. It is surprising, and of course, that need following the financial crisis in 2008 really went up dramatically. Within a couple of years, there were 80% more people visiting the pantries that we serve, and we really had a struggle to keep up. We were able to increase our distribution, but any social service agency during tough economic times is also having more of a challenge to get their resources for us to get food and to get money to buy food. It was a challenge then, and it remains a challenge now when the need remains so high.
So you mentioned buying food. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I think people would be surprised in some cases, to find that food banks actually do purchase food. And I know in our case, we purchase about half of the food we distribute.
And probably compared to most food banks, we purchase a higher proportion of our food. That's partly because there's not a lot of food industry in our service area. But even so, when you compare our expenditures to the amount of food we distribute, it comes out better than most food banks in the state. So we've been able to, even though we buy more food than most food banks do, have been able to create quite a lot of efficiency and been able to keep up pretty well with the increases of need.
And the other nice thing about buying food is that it really gives the food bank more control over the nutritional value of the food that's distributed.
Yeah, we've always really prided ourselves on the nutritional level of our food. As you say, by buying the food, have a lot of control over that. Also, the California Association of Food Banks, I've been a longtime board member and have participated in a program that's brought us a lot of produce that would otherwise be thrown away from farmers throughout the state. And that's been, in recent years, the biggest increase of food has been in produce. And of course, that's the best nutrition of all.
And it's especially important since half of our food goes to children.
Right, right. Yeah, of all that food we distribute, approaching 5 million pounds a year, about half of that goes to children. And we're able to make each donated dollar stretch to cover 4 meals worth of food.
Wow, 4 meals for $1. Well, I wish I could do that with my family. Thank you so much, Bruce, for sharing your experience and wisdom with us and telling us more about the Westside Food Bank, which of course is, as you know, an agency very close to my heart.
And mine too. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us on Nonprofit Profiles. We'll see you next time.